This is my Howard's vise. I've been using it for years, but I've got some new toys I want to show you that he's been developing because I think I might have found a replacement for this that gives me even more functionality. Let's go take a look. And here we go. We're going to play with some new stuff from TotalVise. I talked to Howard, who is the inventor of TotalVise, a little while ago, told him I was going to be moving. I'm going to have a whole new shop and setup, and that I wanted to get a few different things to see which one is going to fit my needs the best in the new shop. And I thought it'd be fun to show you guys everything that I have to play with here. So I've been using this, which is the bow press bench vise. And I liked it because for a while I had it on top of my bench. I really liked that it wasn't out in the aisleway in my garage. I don't have a ton of room out here. Like, believe it or not, what you see is most of my garage space. There's not a lot, that way. And so I was trying to keep people from hitting stuff if they came out into the garage. I was then able to make a little bit of room, and then I took my bow vise and I actually put a chunk of wood on the side here and drilled underneath and screwed this thing from the underside. It was kind of a mess, but it worked and I really liked it. But in talking to Howard, he goes, really what you need is one of these systems here. And this is either going to be the regular, it's a simple quick docking station, or I'm going to show you the crossover docking station here. He goes, you're going to be much happier with it. It's much sleeker. It's designed to do what you're trying to do. And I do have a feeling, based on what I've seen so far in my new shop, that I'm still going to need to put something on the edge of this bench like this. And so I wanted to play with them. So what do we have here? Well, this is what he calls the quick docking station. And it is going to be just simply the tool holder. And then it has these slots on it here so that you can easily slide it on, tension down these knobs, and hold it in place. That's great even if you're somebody who doesn't use this all the time. The fact that you can leave these in place and then take this off the bench, and then maybe you need to use it, you can slide it on, is really, it's really nice. So this one here is only going to allow for a vertical orientation of whatever tool. I'll just show you, like, here's my my barrel vise. If I put my barrel vise in, if I tighten this up, obviously it's not going to be leaning, but if I put this in, all I can do is turn it. I can't go in any other direction, which 99% of the time is fine for what I need, which is why I like just the simplicity of this one. But let's say you needed something where you could rotate a stock, rotate a barrel, do things like that. You might want to consider the crossover docking station, which is what this one is. And I was a little skeptical of this one because it definitely sticks out further. It's probably a good foot out from the bench here, 10 to 12 inches. And I was a little skeptical of it, but it follows a lot of his other kind of theories that he uses for, like, the crossover vise and stuff, which is you get articulation. He's all about letting you move the product rather than you moving around the product. And if you haven't taken a look at his website, like, this is just a small fraction of what he sells. He's got stuff for guitars, motor work, like car repair, woodworking, like a ton of stuff, like bows and like archery. And it's just crazy how many things he designs. But his whole kind of way he looks at things is, I want to move the product around me, not me around the product. So that's why he gives you so many options here. So this one here, that's going to do the same thing that the quick docking station did, but now I have the choice of roughly a 90-degree change here. It comes up just a little bit above, so it's probably more like 110 or 120 degrees, but just a little bit above 90 degrees, and that's going to let you do that. Now, if I put my barrel vise back in here, okay, and I tighten it down, and now let's say for some reason I wanted to look at my barrel down from the top. Well, with this version, I can loosen up over here, rotate this down 90 degrees, and now my barrel is going to be in a vertical orientation. And then I can bring it back up. I can tighten this down. If I need to turn the barrel around, I can do that. So it definitely gives you that additional piece of articulation. So that's going to be the big two differences between the quick docking station and the crossover docking station. So depending on your needs, you're going to want to make a decision there. I honestly don't know how much room I'm going to have yet, which is why I have both of these. Now I'm going to put the quick docking station in simply because it's a little bit smaller and it'll make it easier to show you a couple of the vices that I am trying to play with. So we're going to throw this back on, and you can see how simple this is. I mean, it's really nice. Now, I've been using what is known as the number 5 Sportsman vise. It is his tried and true, been using it forever system. It's got rubber pads on the side and 2 little rubber nubs in here so that you're not, damaging or risking damaging stocks and stuff like that. It's going to slide in, and it uses a 3-point of contact tightening system so that you can pivot and quickly detach with the big one if you want, and if you need to move the system in and out, you can use the big knobs. I kind of do a combination of the two depending on what my needs are. But I've been cleaning on this thing for years. I love cleaning my gun with this thing. But he said, you really need to check out a couple of my other vices. I think you're going to like them. And I said, sure, why not? So this is his brand new number 6 gun vise. And this thing is a monster. Like, it may be more than some people need, and he understands that. I know I certainly do. And what it does is it has 1 point of articulation here, another along the axis here, and then of course you have the pivot on this. So you can rotate it here. Okay, I can lock that down. I can loosen this other side and now angle this, and then I can loosen this lever and now change the head on it here. So this one is going to give you absolutely, I mean, I can't think of anything that you can't articulate on this, because you can go up with it here. I can go all the way down with it to 90 degrees down here. I mean, it's going to cover just about anything that you need it to. The downside, if you're kind of trying to compare these, is that it's going to add additional height. So if you are shorter, or if you have shoulder problems where it's harder for you to get up higher when you're trying to work on something, you just have to keep in mind that this one here is going to bring you up probably about another 9 inches above where I would be with my standard vise, which is going to be down here. And I think that's important to understand, is that there's so many to choose from. Something's going to work for you. You just need to figure out what it is. So that is the number 6 gunsmith vise. He is super excited about this one because, again, going on his sort of theory that you need to move the product around you and not yourself around the product, he's been working on this one for a while. I remember him telling me last year that he had been putting this into the works, trying to figure out how to make it, as compact but as articulating as it could. So he's very excited about this one. So that is the number 6 gunsmith vise. And then I'm going to show you the one that I really like, which this one here, this is the number 10 Craftsman vise. And I know it probably seems silly, but he's got very specific names for everything. And with the cornucopia of products he has, I just thought it would be good for me to label these so that everybody knew exactly which vise, if they wanted to take a look, they were looking for. Otherwise, like normally I don't have the names on here. So with this one reminds me of a pattern maker vise, and I think that's probably where he got the inspiration for it. And the reason I really like this one is, one, you have a swiveling pad on this side. So if you have weird or, quirky things you need to hold, it'll still hold them because it's still going to apply the pressure. I tried putting some weird stocks and stuff in here, and it did a really good job of holding it. And I do like the fact that it opens up much wider than the gun vices. So the gun vices are going to max out, I think it's right about 3 inches or a hair under. This one here, I think you can get a full 10 inches. I don't know. Let's see if we can get it to grow bigger than 10 inches. So I think that's probably pretty close. I think it's just coming off at that point. So yeah, 9 or 10 inches. Anyway, I just like that it's got a ton of space on it, and I like that it's got this single handle for tightening down. It's just a little bit more reminiscent of, like I said, the pattern maker vise that I like. The bottom here is an exposed metal, so if you're going to try to put anything on here that could potentially be damaged, make sure you put something like, I would even consider putting painter's tape or something very thin, because you don't want to impede this sliding across it. But you definitely would want to put some kind of a coating on there just to help keep something from getting scratched. But I really like this one. I'm sort of leaning towards it. It also has an articulation down here that I'm not using, which there's a bolt right here. And if you loosen that and tighten this one, you can then rotate the whole head. But I've got this thing torqued down because I don't need to rotate it right now. And again, that just comes into here. If I go with this one, odds are I would probably want to use it in combination with, let's see what it looks like. Let's throw this crossover docking station back on. Because I feel like if you're going to do that, then you're probably better off having this extra angle here. So maybe something like this and this. Okay. And now we have a very nice setup here. And if I ever needed to, I can now angle this up and down a little bit. So I do like that. I think that's a pretty nice combination. I just need to make sure that I'm okay with the height for some of the stuff that I do. Make sure it doesn't get above kind of a weird vertical for me with my shoulders. But I think we're okay here. One other thing about the stuff he's making now is none of it is capped on the bottom. So some of his early stuff was capped off and you couldn't run a pipe all the way through. You now have the ability to take something like this. Okay, so this is one of his extension pedestals. And I have my, this is my Short Action Customs final scope level on it. And for me, now, I know it's hard because it's off camera, but I can raise it up to my eye level and work on it, which is really nice because before I'd have to come down and, you know, kind of look through the scope and then come back up and then look through the scope and then come back up. With this, I don't have to worry about that at all, and it's really nice. I utilize on here, I'm utilizing his barrel vise stand. So I have my barrel vise, I have my actual barrel vise on one, and then my final scope level on another. And again, they just, oops. I don't know where it went. It is nice because you can just, you know, do this. You can bring it up wherever you want. And then it has a collar on it. So if I know I'm going to always be working at a certain height, I can just lock that in so that if I loosen this up to rotate it, it's not going to fall back down through. So he really tries to think everything out ahead of time, which I really, really appreciate. In fact, you're going to see more of these getting used as I build my 2 new guns that are coming up. I'm going to have to mount scopes. I'm going to have to do some work on them. And that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to make sure that I had all of this ahead of time. So it's exciting for me, but you know, you do have to make sure you got the right tools for what you need. One of the things that I've done is over here on my bench, I've drilled 2-inch holes. I need to put a couple more in, but it accommodates his shaft, so you can just store your tools right on top of your bench if you want. He does actually make tool holders also, which you can put either in a vertical orientation or hang them, and that will let you put these poles into them, and you can have your different tools wherever you need them to. I've done, I used to have a track system that was here. It just got to be a little too much for my shop here, but you could slide the tool back and forth if you need to. Again, if you head to his website, you're going to be amazed at everything that's over there. But for now, there's the stuff that's new in my shop. Once I get it finalized to what I'm using, you'll obviously see a lot more of it if you watched any of my cleaning videos or anything else that I've done. Yeah, you know, like I said, you've seen me using this one for a long time. It's going to be hard to give up, but I know one of these other 2 vices is probably going to give me even more functionality. So I guess we'll see what happens. With that, I hope everybody gets out and shoots. Have a good one. We will talk later.